Hello, I'm Chris. This is Gross Models. I'm going to kill a bit of time before I actually start because apparently the last time I did a live feed, the advertising kicked in and missed away the first 30 seconds or whatever of the video. So how's the weather? It's a bit cold here today and not overly pleasant, but oh well. Right. The chat is actually behind me over that way, so I can't actually see it unless I turn around and look, but I will look occasionally and see what's going on. It looks like there's me in there. Got midnight teas evening from Texas and at work, so probably wander off frequently, but more than welcome to stay and chat with me as much as you like. We've got Paul from Glue to the Sprue, who's recently become a mod on my channel, so yeah, he said it's late, but it wasn't. It was dead on 8 that I started. Mike Mountain's here, good evening. Terry Smooth's Workshop says moo for some reason. I don't know why. It's not really a cow, but Paul says no ads this time. Basically just mods in the chat, isn't it? Oh, look, we've got Chris Henderson in here as well. It's a Chris party. Right. Well, I'm here. We're all here. What's going on here, says Jonathan Garza. I'm going to start a new project. That's what's going on. Paul says his power's going to his head. He's banned small already. I might have to moderate the moderators. Right. I've been doing the tug build, but I've sort of got to the point where I need to build another bit, and I got distracted by trying to do diorama bits on it, which by printing walls and things and experimenting with water. So I've sort of lost the urge to do that at the moment. So I thought I'd start a new kit, which I had sitting in the stash for a while, and I thought it was time to pull it out. So I've got a Millennium Falcon to do. Everyone's been doing these perfect grade ones, but I haven't got one of those. I've got a 144 scale one. So I thought I'd start it, and I thought I might as well start it live because I'm going to be starting it anyway. Might as well. You're a lot here. You might as well watch for a bit. But I'm also going to do a teeny tiny Millennium Falcon as well, mainly because I don't want to mess up the nice 144 one. So I'm going to be practicing different colour paintwork and everything on the tiny teeny one, which has still got all the decals in the world on it. So that'll be quite fun. So basically tonight I'm just going to start doing it. Obviously not going to get any painting or anything done. Going to get the first few bits off the sprue and see what's what. This one I haven't even opened. That's all the decals from different colour panels and things on it. And the big one, I have opened the box because I've stolen the little characters from it. I stole the Han and the Chewie from it and painted them up a while back. And then did the Finn and Rey as well. Coming out on camera a little bit, yep. And my favourite one, Tiny BB-8, which was great fun trying to paint something the size of about 3 grains of rice stuck together. So I have actually opened the box and opened a few of the packets inside, but I might as well do a proper unboxing anyway. So without further ado, let's get it out and we'll see what we're doing. That's the decals for this one, which probably stickers being right. It's a Star Wars Bandai kit, so whether I use all of those or some of those, obviously some of the tiny markings I will need to use, but the colour panels I'll probably paint rather than mess it up with stickers. Right, let's just see who's here. It's all mods. It's all blue on my screen. We're all fine here. How are you? Yeah. Dave Barker's in. Ravel. He can't even spell his swearing right. Right, Jonathan Garza's nice and very interested, apparently. That's nice. Cutting mat's far too clean for Paul's liking. I have got a few bits marked on it already, but, you know, it's a working mat. It's not going to be that. Terry asked if there'll be fire and Dremels. No, not at the moment. The bigger one is 144. The smaller one is not marked as a scale. It's what they call their box scale. I think I've read somewhere it's about 1/350. So it's pretty tiny. Let's get it out to compare a couple of panels. Excuse the noise of opening packets, but there we go. I'm pretty sure I won't be getting the bits mixed up between these. So here's that, and that's top plate. Let's get that top plate open from this one. Crinkly rubbish. Right, there we go. So that's the two to scale of each other. So there's different camera balance from what I normally film with. This is my webcam for live streaming, so I'm not sure about. Turn my lights down a little bit. That might help you. Or the camera might just compensate for the lights being down. So yeah, I can't work in the dark. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit overburst for you, but there you go. Yeah, so obviously they're not exactly the same kits, just scaled down. This one's already got the cockpit tunnel on it, but yeah. Right, I'll have another nose through that. Episode 6 completed cockpit. Yeah, I think the cockpit will be smaller than that. Terry congratulates me on 700 subscriptions, which I got just a little while ago, which I'm happy with. Thank you. Thank you all for subscribing and following my antics. Right, let's have a look. While I've got the little one out, let's have a look at the little one. Now, these tiny scale box kits, this is number 6 of the series. There's been, I think an X-Wing was the first one. There's been several of these. There we go. X-Wing and Falcon in there. They put the instructions on the inside of the lid. And there's only, half a dozen bits. So it won't take long to build that one, but obviously still needs painting and priming and painting. And then everything else doing to it as well. Whether I paint or mask the stickers on that one is something I haven't decided on yet. The stands they give you, these are all identical. I've got dozens of those kicking around with different things on. So we've got a top and a bottom. What have we got here? A couple of guns, a side panel, another couple of side panels, the engine, more side panels, more bits, the escape pod bits, the cockpit, which is one piece cone, sticks on the front there. So yeah, the instructions say to cut here. So you've got to start on the bottom piece, get rid of all the sprue, put on the side panels, then the other side panels. Right, pretty much I'm thinking this one is going to be built and then painted. Now with these nippers, I can actually get in pretty close to the sprue, to the kit itself. They're actually really nice and don't seem to damage the plastic at all if you use the flat side next to where you need to cut. So let's get that off there. That out of the way. And let's see, what does it say? I'm going to get the other one off because I want to see it together. I've got a couple of these small Falcon kits previously, but not the Bandai ones. I've got a couple of the Revel ones, which, if I'd have thought things through, I would have had ready and compared and showed you, but they're downstairs, so another time I'll put some pictures up comparing them once it's getting there. So actually that's quite nice. You've got the lower pods that are empty on here and they just come through. So yeah, that's sort of palm sized, but there is still, as ever with these Bandai kits, a lot of nice detail on there. Obviously you haven't got the hundreds of greaves to stick on like you do on the larger kits, but it's nice enough. Right, so thinking it through, I'll be needing to paint obviously all of it, but the inside panels will actually be darker, so I don't need to stick it together until I've got it primed and painted up. So I think I'll be taking all this off the sprue and priming it first, and then painting and then building most of it. Most of it you can't actually paint in place. So I'm going to get all of this cut off, as there's only, you know, a dozen bits or 20 bits. That won't take any time, but I won't be doing any painting live because it's just boring and loud, and I'll have to wear my mask, which won't help me talk at all. Talking to camera's hard enough without any interference and anything getting in the way. So do the other one in a minute. When you've got all off the sprue, obviously you do need to sand it down. Now I'm using these little thinny sticks because even the thick end is pretty big when you're dealing with this sort of stuff, but the thin end is just about right. So these are a harsher grade, but I've got several others that are various different grades going down to a polishing final piece, so you can get it really quite nice and shiny even if you want. Yeah. So how is everybody? What's happening in the chat? Vincent's in. Mr. Loth, evening. Tony Black's evening as well. John Huff from the USA, Kentucky, 3 p.m. there. Tony Black says it's 10 past 8. It's 10 past 8 here as well, strangely enough. Or 12 past 8 now. Right. This two of the Falcon kit's made by Bandai. It's nice when chat sorts itself out and I don't have to get involved. Both the kits he's doing the Bandai ones. Yep, indeed. Chris, do I have sustenance at the bench? And am I planning on doing a dio? At the moment, I don't have sustenance. Well, I've got some sustenance. I've got, what have I got? I've got a packet of poppets, which is suspiciously almost empty, but not quite, as well as the emergency Mars bar, which I've had up here since Christmas. And traditional bottle of Lucozade, just because you got to, as well as a bottle of brandy over there I can see. So I won't be on for long enough to get into all of that, but there you go. Right, Paul, if he passes out from hunger, it's his own fault. Told him enough times. Dave has mentioned the need for sustenance several times. I think I can almost hear his voice telling me, sustenance, need sustenance at your bench. Except he does it with a different accent. But yeah, he has mentioned the need for sustenance every Thursday when Dave does his shopping videos on the Boom Hut, which almost always consists of him having a packet of squares, some Tommy Walsh 2-part epoxy, jelly babies, the Haribo ones, not any other brand. He hasn't had any picture frames for a little while. I'm a little bit worried that they've run out and they don't sell them anymore at his local Poundland, but he's gone on to CDs and DVDs now, so maybe he gets through them not quite so quickly. But yeah, I like every Thursday I guess what he's going to buy before he buys it, and pretty much always right. I think he needs to change up his supplier a little bit or branch out into Twiglets or something different rather than sticking with the squares. Squares are all right, but they're a little bit boring. Jelly babies are okay. You can stick with those though. Right, that's pretty much all of the fine stuff taken off. I'll do the other bits in a bit as well. Right, we've got get drunk. Oh no, I'm not going to get drunk, Paul. No, it's not that sort of thing. We've got Northern Swede scale models. So see if we have. I've gone global. I'm impressed. Camera's whiting out a lot. Yeah, I noticed that. I don't know what I can do about that. if I turn the lights down and make it darker, then it's just darker. Let me play around with the camera settings. Advanced settings. Exposure, gain. Maybe the gain. If I turn the auto gain down, what will I do with that? Don't normally play with these settings. Fox told me not to. Turn the exposure down a bit. There we go. How's that? Contrast. Play with the contrast as well. No. Oh. It's all dark over that side, but how's that? You can see the bits. You can see me. Oh, it's difficult. I'm looking the wrong way and watching my hands on the little screen rather than anything else. Right, that's okay. It's too dark. Oh, make up your mind. How's that? I'm going to sit there. Whether that's too light or too dark, tough. Set it back to standard and move the very white box with the very instruction booklet. Ah, right. Okay. Vincent says everything's wrong. See, I've got a window over that bit of the screen. I can't see that that's in shot. So I've got that. Let's move out of the way. Does that help? Move the box. That's what's whitening out. I've moved the box. The kit's quite white though. It's that sort of off-white grey, and I have my homemade light fitting just there, which is lovely. But there you go. It was okay. Then I buggered it up. Thanks, Paul. Better, but a bit dark. Says smooth. Set it to right. I don't know what all these controls do. You see, gain makes it go brighter, but then it goes white out. You see. At least we can see what you're working on now. I'll stop playing. I like tech, but playing is back to the default setting you started with. I think it's just doing it to wind me up now. Sure, that was auto everything. No, but that's too bright now. It's definitely too bright. Turn off the auto and turn that down a bit. The fun we have sorting out the white balance and everything on my camera. Oh, I've got a white balance button. Oh, just found that. That's not white balance, that's white colour. Well, the mat is green, so I'll turn that up there. Put that there. That there. There you go. I'm sitting there. I'm leaving that unless everyone shouts at me. So I've got hands. They're sort of hand coloured. They're orange. This is green, and that's sort of grey white. And on the floor. I swear it's not the big one I'm starting on, is it? Right. Okay. Right. I'm going to turn away from the chat now, so if you want anything, that's just tough. I'll turn back and look again in a little while. See, I've forgotten what I've cut now. I've done them. I cut that off. I haven't sanded them down yet. So, let's see. These are actually mostly all right. As I say, these cutters that I've got, they're Zuron, and they're actually really good. This plastic just takes to them really nicely. And you can get almost in. They just need the very lightest touch of tidying up. And then they're just about perfect. So, let's just finish off these last couple of bits. Thought I might have been able to put this one together tonight, but considering the painting that does need to happen, some of it before, I won't be. But it will be a quick build. I'll do a quick video build of this and then a longer one of the bigger 144 one. It's very strange having that 144 one is going to be bigger kit. But 350 is pretty small. I'm pretty sure that once I've cut these off, I'll not be able to tell which bit's which and get them all mixed up. But the instructions are normally pretty good with these. I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out, what bit goes where. If not, I can always watch this video back and find out where each bit came from, and then work it out from there, can't I? As to how long this is going to last tonight, I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. It's not like I plan anything. It was only a few hours ago I planned to actually bother broadcasting at all. So it will go on until I run out of stuff to do that's not painting, or I get bored or fall asleep, or I notice that everybody's disappeared. Of course, you might have all disappeared already. I don't know. I'll have to turn around in a minute and look at the chat. If you have all gone, I'll be a bit sad, but can't say it'd be unexpected. It can't be exactly thrilling watching this. I'm surprised so many people watch my videos that I put up. Not live, but to sit and watch me do this live for, what's it been, 20 minutes already? You're either very bored people or very supportive people, or a combination of all of the above. And I thank you very much for whichever it is. Right, I don't want the stand at the moment. So, let's see. I'm also colourblind. I am red-green colourblind as it happens, but I don't know that it makes a difference really, because things are things. Primary parts dark grey, that should fix it. I'll be doing the cockpit in episode 6, says Terry from Smo. Easily assemble the full kit before priming and painting, actually. Yeah. I don't know, the thing that worries me about priming and painting this is getting under and into these bits with the darker colour. Although I suppose it is the other side is the same. So darken that up with a dark wash maybe. Okay, you talked me into it. I'll build this kit tonight. Sorted. Let's continue with the sanding then. So I'll have one falcon complete in one episode. Beat that, folks. It won't be complete. It'll be built, but I need to come back and paint it. Not quite up to doing painting live on air. Even if you wouldn't have to listen to me talk if I was doing it. I suppose you can always mute me now anyway, so. Now, I'm going to be getting rid of the worst edges from this now. Pretty much done. Then I can get rid of most of the rest of it when it's actually assembled. Some of this obviously won't be bothered about the edges because they're sort of insets and underneath. Just making sure I get rid of the worst of it so they do actually fit. But especially things like the curve of the cockpit tube, I don't want to sand down flat edges to it because it's curved. So if I put it together first and then do the finer higher grit sanding and polishing, then hopefully I'll be able to get the edges to match up better and actually be, sorry, just looking for nub marks and things on there. Takes a bit of attention. Yeah, I can sand around the edge in one move rather than having to guess where the edge is going to be and tidying it up that way. Now the engine is the one thing that would have to be a different colour, or either white or blue. Maybe white and blue. Mix it up a bit. So that's that. Now let's see. I need to get the instructions, which I covered up with the bits, to see what bit goes where. But before I start that, let's have a look. Collins in Fiesta 67. What doing? You're colourblind. You're going to experiment with electricity. Sounds like fun. Yeah, but electricity is only black and red. It's not red and green. And anyway, this is green. I know it's green, and that's sort of reddish. So the red green's not any problem, is it? I don't know how they work out that you're colourblind anyway. So what if I see green slightly different to how somebody else sees green? Nobody knows how anyone else sees anything anyway, do they? You know, you describe it and say the sky is blue, but what is blue anyway? Right, so I've got some bits to put on. There's one of them with the bit that sticks out according to the instructions in there. See, I'm going to have the boxing camera again. It's going to be whitening out, but I'll try and keep it out of the way. And that goes on there. Now, most of these kits, the Bandai ones, are snap kits. So you can pretty much snap them together and not worry about it falling apart on you. Some bits might need to be glued in place, but I've got glue within reach. I did make sure of that first. Might not be highly organised, but I'm slightly organised. Now, these two are these two, yes. Here we go, right on the edges. That might be one of those aforementioned parts that might need to be glued in place. Though once the top cover goes on over the top of that, maybe not. No, they seem to be quite secure. I think I'm happy with that. Right, that's picture A. We've got these bits that go down the front. And one little side panel over there. Now, I do like Star Wars, as people may have noticed. The Falcon wasn't my favourite ship. I've always liked X-Wings, but when D'Agostini brought out the Build Your Own Millennium Falcon, I had to go for it. And as such, Falcon has become, I say, not my favourite, but certainly a nice ship. I do like the Falcon more than I used to. But I'm not that much of a nerd or rivet counter or geek that I can tell that sidewall's not quite right, or they mirrored this. And I know they did apparently on the bigger 144 kit. Some of the sidewalls aren't quite right. Shouldn't be the same as the one on the other side, but they have, and so I don't quite care that some of it isn't quite right. That one, or that's the other side. That's the other side. No, it is that side because it doesn't actually match up. That's where they got it quite nice. They've deliberately made it so bits won't fit. These little cut-out pieces are in slightly different positions on the left and the right, so it will only go together one way round. For the idiots like me that actually cut it all off before thinking about it. What have we got? I think there's a bit I forgot to cut off. I haven't found A211. Luckily I didn't throw any sprues away. A2 11. Nope, I did cut it off. Okay, who's nicked it? Oh, it's the bottom bit of the... Must be bottom bit of the cockpit. It's just on a funny angle in the picture, so yeah, that'll be there. Right, that's that bit. Then we got to put that aside and put some bits on the top, which are going to be these two. See, now they may be identical. No, see, they've got a different cut to the inside of there, which you probably can't see, but it means that it'll only go on one way round. So even I can't stuff it up too badly. I can give it a good try. but I don't think I can stuff it up completely. So that's the one that's off to one side. So that's this side, which is this side. Pretty much goes in there. That one goes in that side. Then what have we got? We've got what we've got left over. That's that bit. Sorted. Process of elimination. I've got the two guns, the radar dish, the cockpit, the engines, and those two. And again, they've got little spiky bits coming out of one way or the other, so you can't get them the wrong way around. You can sometimes not get it in the right way around, but that's not quite the same as getting them in the wrong way around. That one and that one. Cut here, I've already done the cut here bit. Just to go on there. Go. Is that the engine? Where did I put the engine on? Oh, I should have done that back in the other step. You would forget something. There you go. That's that. That one on there. Sound of it snapping together is lovely. That's that. Cockpit on the front. Guns probably identical. Don't worry too much about them. I'll be able to pop those off, and I'll need to do the windows as well. And the dish. Traditional original dish. Now the 144 one is the Force Awakens version, so it's got the square-reel. But there we go, one Falcon complete in, where are we? Just over half an hour. By the time I did the intro, less than half an hour to build one kit. I'll get to the little sanding down. Let's just see what's happened in the chat. Nothing. Sky blue with a white line across the middle works for the engine, says Paul, and glued to the sprue. Yeah, that's probably it. Airbrushing very fine is tricky, so that will be brush painting in there, I think. But yeah, it's only black and red. True until you get into doing proper circuits for blinking lights and stuff, says Vincent. Yeah, I am a qualified electrician. Well, I've got a GCSE in electronics. I'm sure that counts. But yeah, I used to know about electronics and circuits and computers and stuff, but haven't bothered doing anything with it for decades, which sounds really old. But yeah, I'm sure it'll come back to me if I do want to try and do anything a bit more involved, but I'm not overly worried at the moment. While I'm here, let me get the stand off. Then I'll go back and finish off a little bit of sanding on that, because a bit of the stand just went on the floor. Now this one is, as I say, pretty much just to figure out painting colour schemes and things for the bigger one. There you go. It's not to scale with anything else that I've got in the Star Wars universe, but still nice, and still got a lot of detail on it for such a small kit. So yeah, I'll tidy that up before I prime it, and then obviously painting, and then decals and painting and things. So let me get that out of the way, and then have a drink. And let's see, the proper one, the big one. Slightly more instructions than the inside of a box. And as tradition decrees, it must start with the cockpit. And then yeah, then it's the front fork. Obviously no interior or anything on this. I have seen lighting kits for these, but I'm not overly worried about lighting anything quite at the moment. And I don't read Japanese, so all of this is a mystery to me. I'll have to use the Translate app to figure out. Actually, it says about LEDs and things on there. Coming out on camera. And probably white it out, but it's got pictures of. It's obviously got mounting points for LEDs already, although it obviously doesn't come with any. Figure out what all the things mean. So yes, this will be a fun build, and as ever with these Bandai kits, half of it is translating and figuring out how it's going to work. Big back panel, and then they do let you down with the display bases for these. The kits themselves are lovely, and there are greebles to put on these as well, but the display stands are pretty much rubbish. Let me open that and show you that. Vincent says anything that flies must be built cockpit first. So saith the gods of styrene. Could well be a law. These are, I say, pretty horrible. I don't know what they could do to make it better, to be honest, but it just doesn't look right. So yeah, I'll have to do something with that. But yeah, definitely do something to make that look nicer. Whether I don't use it at all and build a diode base. I am planning, and have been planning for a long time, to do a full-on sort of Star Wars diorama, all 1/4 scale. So I've got the Hoth one, which is very nice, and I'm happy with that. But I might do a sort of desert one that's either Tatooine, Jakku, that sort of thing, which would fit in with the Falcon and several other ships that I can have sort of flying or crashed. So I'll get to that at some point and figure out how that's going to work. Right. Oh, Tony Black says he's enjoying the R2 build as well. Thank you. That's, yeah, another scale that's completely out of the norm for me. It's half scale, that R2, so it's quite big. Yes, John Huff, this is the Force Awakens Falcon. It says so on the box. It's got a little Force Awakens bit there, and as I say, comes with the square reel. Now this is one of the slightly older kits that actually comes with, so you can't see, the standing figures that I've already painted and showed you, and the seated figures. Now apparently they're not allowed to do standing figures anymore because it's they're considered action figures, even at this scale. I don't know quite how that's an action figure, but apparently that counts as an action figure, so they're not allowed to make them and sell them anymore, or at least outside of Japan. They're not meant to sell the kits outside of Japan, but obviously there's ways around. With the internet and everything being such a thing, borders are disappearing. So they're actually not allowed to sell figures anymore. I think they can still have seated figures, but not standing. So although with this kit you actually get both, so I'm happy to have got it before it stopped being a thing. And yeah, let me just have a rummage in here again. Using the plastic noises. Somewhere, there we go. This is the sprue that I'd already opened, which has got, I say, some seated Han and Chewie, and the other two from the Force Awakens there as well. So the missing bits are the standing versions and the BB-8, which there wasn't a seated version of, funnily enough. Yeah, so there's lots of cables and greebles and stuff which are very fine on these, but They're going to be fun to paint and mark up. Clear bits, obviously, for the cockpit. It's going to be an interesting masking experience. And the blue bit for the engine, obviously. So, I shall need to decipher lots of this Japanese before I really get into this. Obviously, these are just the part numbers. And then it tells you what to... You can fit one or the other characters in there. But all of that needs to be painted separately. Don't know if there's decals for the back wall, like there is in the bigger kit. Right, okay, we get stickers and decals, which is nice. But nothing for the back wall by the looks of it. And they're different. So we've got, let's say, the cockpit. I can never remember if blue's the stickers or green's the decals, but I think green is the sticker. Oh, there is, yeah, they are cockpits there, but they're thicker. So yeah, they'll be the stickers, and these will be the decals, which I expect I shall use some of, but not the. Oh, I don't know, the colour panels. As a decal, they do come out much nicer. I may go with the decals on that. I'll figure that out down the line. But there's no back wall, so let me find the piece that is the back wall, D214, and have a look and see how that looks. That's going to be quite a bit of fine painting work. E2. Sorry for the rummaging. D2. Get in that bag. Right. Yeah, there you go. Oh, right. Yeah, so the back wall, if that's coming out at all on camera. Let's get close up, but then it's going to be too dark. There we go. It's got lots of nice detail on it, but there's no decals for it at all. So that will be painting. Fun. Teeny tiny painting. So I'll be doing that off camera with a visor on, trying to get in exactly where I need to go. So I think the build itself will start soon, but not tonight, not on camera. I'll start bits of it and film it and put it up as a build series. Let's just have a look and see what we've got in chat. If there's anybody there, I'll leave a hand here so you know I'm still here. I've not run away. Yeah, Paul says it's a very specific technical thing with the licensing and how an action figure is defined. It's obviously nothing to do with size, but Vincent says, to be honest, with the D'Agostini prices, I'd be worried that R2 comes down to building a full-size R2. Maybe not with full aluminium chassis and stuff, but still be a decent one. Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about the part works is that they're part works. You don't have to stump it all up straight away. It's, I think this is $8.99 a week. So it's, you know, less than 40 quid a month. And you can spend that on a kit, can't you, really? And at the end of it, you'll get what is hopefully going to be a very nice kit and something that, you know, you can be proud of. The falcon that I did, I can see it over there, but I can't move it because it's huge. Is lovely. It's massive and nice, but I wouldn't spend it all in one hit on it. But over the course of 2 years, it's not bad. I mean, say, what is it? £9 a week. It's, you know, not getting 2 or 3 coffees. It's affordable for most people if you budget properly, and, you know, if you have a coffee every day, then just don't have a coffee every day. You'll be in pocket and still be able to have a nice kit. But yeah, Tony Black says they got a sweet looking E-type Jag that's so tempting. They do a lot. there's a lot of D'Agostini stuff, and Eagle Moss do a few as well, and that sort of thing. You hear horror stories about some of them, but D'Agostini have got a thing that they say they've never stopped a kit halfway through. If they start a kit properly, then they'll continue to do it, and it will complete, even if only 3 people in the world finish it. So you've got a bit of history with them. They've been doing it for a long time. I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. And so the couple of things I've had from them have been very nice. Right, what we got? Beyond Hope's in evening all, just in time for sort of finishing. I'm not going to be about for much longer because I say there's not a lot more I can do with that. You missed me building the falcon. I built an entire falcon in one episode. It's not painted or anything yet, but you know, it's built. Trout Charles in as well, evening. And Robert Geary says not to have a coffee and a sad face. Yeah, well, you can make your own coffee. You don't have to have a high street coffee that's expensive, and they're going to start charging extra now because of the cups. Trout and Charles says D'Agostini good, Eagle Moss is bad. I have heard that. Eagle Moss have got some bad rep for some things, but Vincent says the Thunderbird 2 is damn expensive. People have been bashing that one a bit from what I've read. I know Ant at Bashing Kits was doing it. I don't think he's filming it, but I know he's been subscribing to it. And from what I've heard, it's quite nice. It's got, as with all of these partworks, they seem to spread it out more than they really need to. If you've watched any of my R2 build videos, then you'll see a few of them are, you know, like a 1 minute long video of that week's build. It's putting 2 bits together that you're probably going to have to take apart to put the 3rd bit on the week after. But it all balances out. You've got to take the rough with the smooth, and you know, one week we got on the R2 build. This is a mini video projector that projects the little video of you know, Leia doing a "Help Me Obi-Wan Kenobi" speech, and that is worth more than the $8.99 that they charge for that episode. But another part, you'll get 3 plastic bits that are worth £1. So they obviously have to spread it out and can't have high value items every week, but it balances out in the end of it. R2's really spreading it out. Yeah, they are, but we knew it was going to be 100 parts from the off, so it's almost halfway now. I seem to be a month behind. They stuffed up something with the payment for some reason. They couldn't take it, although they didn't actually try and take it, and it was there if they wanted it. But that delayed me by a month. So I've actually only got part 48 now, whereas I know a few people have got up to 52. But it's halfway, and it's quite nice. Let me grab a leg. I'll show you. That's an R2 leg, which is pretty much complete. It's nice, it's big, it's substantial, it's quite weighty. I haven't done any painting or weathering on it, but it's got electronics for the sensors, and there's a sensor in the shoulder piece that apparently stops it from running into things, and obviously the wheel at the bottom is powered. So yeah, I mean, it's a substantial bit of kit, and once it's finished, it's going to be hopefully something I'll be quite proud of. But the problem is, once you've done a leg, you know you've got to do another leg, which is exactly the same but reversed. And then there's a shorter 3rd leg to do. So although we're halfway through, we've done 1 leg. The main dome is complete, although I haven't got the aluminium cover for it yet, and the panels. But everything's actually starting to come together. I'm sure it's going to be quite nice. Transod says the R2 is not as bad as some of the DeLorean parts, though. I've heard some horror stories about some of the DeLorean bits not being right and not being accurate and needing work doing to them, but there you go. Vincent says it's never going to be for him. Not a decent sub available to his region. Yeah, a lot of these, as I was saying, global industry has got shorter and smaller with the internet spreading things across. It's there's still going to be areas that they don't do or can't do or won't do or isn't cost effective for them to do. But you never know, sometime they might. Right. Eagle Moss customer service is atrocious. You can never get hold of them. Yeah, I don't have any Eagle Moss subscriptions going. But I did have to contact Diagostini about something for the. I needed folders for the Falcon build. They didn't send out when they said they were going to. I contacted them. They did it, sorted it all, no problem at all. It was all over and done pretty quick. So yeah, if you do manage to get hold of them, hopefully they'll sort it out for you. Right, unless anyone sitting in the chat has got any questions or anything you want me to carry on with, I think that's going to be about it. It's been, what, 50 minutes? Me sitting here talking to myself and the 18 people that are watching. Hello, 18 people. I just thought I'd open the stickers and see. Yeah, so they're okay. They could be nicer, but the tiny ones are definitely going to get used. I don't know about, I assume these are obviously for the panels, obviously not on this one. It's the problem with painting some of this, obviously getting the edges tricky. There's a lot of crinkly edges on some of these. I don't know if that comes out on camera at all again. The lights on the camera. There's a lot of very crinkly edges where it goes around panels and things, which is not fun. But I'm more worried about some of the detail work on, you know, highlights and lines and little markings that are on some of them. That replicating would be a real pain. So I'll try a couple of the decals once I've got it painted in the base colour and see how it looks. If I like it, I'll stick with it. If I don't, I can always peel them off and paint. I have got somewhere a tin of Tamiya Insignia White, which is the closest off-the-shelf colour to actual Falcon colour. So I'll be using that for both of them, basically. Once I prime them, I'll probably prime them in black because that gives a nice contrast and helps pop out some of the detail. And then I'll give it a go over with the Insignia White and then see about details. The small one was only stickers, so they're less nice but also tiny. I'll play around with it and see what's what. Bandai stickers are pretty good if you screw up a decal, says Tony Black. Yes, yeah, that's true. It's nice if you've got a backup for anything. So yeah, they're always nice to have, and to give you duplicates of them is above and beyond, really. I think they do it so the stickers, in theory, are more for beginner modelers and people that pick up the kit because it's a Star Wars rather than because it's a model kit. And they obviously are easier to do. You just peel off a sticker and slap it on. But decals take a bit more work and a bit more effort to make it look nice, but they do look nicer. So it's difficult to find that middle ground, I think, for them. I was going to finish sanding this, wouldn't I? Yeah, a couple of bits of that aren't quite stuck together properly, so I'll be going around with some extra thin and glue them together. And say taking the guns back off to paint under those as well. I'll do the windows in black, and then obviously the edges. Masking those is going to be interesting, but it's not too small. I've done finer detail masking than that on a couple of the other tiny kits, the A-wings and things like that. So yeah, that'll be interesting. That one I won't be filming the build. I shouldn't think that's why it's already built. There you go. You just watched the filming of that build. The painting is going to be more of a test piece for the big one. But right, I hope you've enjoyed watching this. We're down to 15 viewers, so people are obviously drifting away, as they do. Yeah, so it's been pretty much an hour now. That's long enough for me, I think. I hope it's long enough for you. I'll do another one of these at some point when I've got something else to do. But it's difficult to, let's say, stay engaged and do things without just ignoring you all in the chat and doing my own thing. Plus, I can't put music on or my audio book that I tend to listen to while I'm building, while I'm doing this. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you come back for more and see what else is happening next time. But and then I shall see you on the internet. Yeah, as ever, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for following the channel. 700 of you now. I'm impressed with that. When I started, I thought 7 might be about the limit, but yeah. So yeah, thanks all. Chris Henderson says he enjoyed it. Thanks. There's Tony Black. Anything I can do to help you all, even if it's just me stuffing things up so you don't have to. That's what the Learn with Growth series has been. Pretty much me making mistakes and getting things wrong so you can learn from my mistakes. You might not be able to learn from my successes because they're few and far between. But yeah, thanks for everybody, and see you soon.